What if I told you there was a boxer who hit harder than Mike Tyson, but his career ended way too soon?
Really to get himself back in, but good left hand, down goes Tillis.
Tommy Morrison's story is full of raw power, speed, and an almost mythical right hand that could knock out anyone in his path. But what happened to him? How did a fighter with so much potential end up a tragic figure in boxing? Let's break down the rise and fall of Tommy the Duke Morrison, one of the hardest hitters in boxing history. Who was Tommy Morrison really? What made his punches so powerful that they became his legacy? And what led to his shocking downfall even after he was on the verge of greatness? Stick around because you're about to hear the full untold story of a boxer who could have been one of the greatest.
And a left hand from Morrison connects. Another good round for Tommy Morrison.
If only he could handle everything that came with it. The early years. A fighter's spark. Tommy Morrison's story begins like many legends do at the very beginning. Born on January 2, 1969 in the American South, Morrison had a mix of Irish and Native American heritage. From a young age, it was clear he wasn't like everyone else. He was athletic, competitive, and had the drive to be great. Whether it was football, basketball, or any sport he picked up, Morrison always gave his best. But it wasn't until he stepped into the boxing gym at the age of 10 that his true gift showed itself. His father introduced him to the sport, and right away, Tommy stood out. Fast forward to age 15, and Morrison was already fighting adult opponents. How did he manage that? Well, his mom helped him by forging a fake ID, and at just 15 years old, he started competing against grown men. By 1988, Morrison had already fought over 200 amateur matches, and he had a reputation for knocking opponents out cold. But despite his success in the ring, he still faced challenges. He lost in the Olympic trials to Ray Mercer, a future Olympic gold medalist. But instead of being discouraged, Morrison used this as motivation. He decided that being an amateur wasn't for him, and he turned pro. At the age of 19, Morrison made his debut in the boxing world, and things were never the same again. The rise of the Duke, a knockout machine. When Morrison turned professional in November of 1988, he didn't just want to be another fighter. He wanted to be the fighter. Standing 6 feet 2 inches and weighing over 200 pounds, Morrison had a physique that screamed power. But it wasn't just his size that got attention, it was the force behind his punches. The right hand? Deadly. His left hook? Devastating. His uppercut? A knockout artist's dream. In his first 5 professional fights, Morrison's opponents didn't last longer than 3 rounds. He was a force of nature, but it wasn't just about the knockout streak. Morrison had a style that was all his own. His punches were fast, precise, and explosive. In his 6th fight, a match against Tyori Ali, Morrison showed just how dangerous he could be. Ali tried to fight back, but Morrison's punches overwhelmed him. In the 4th round, Morrison knocked him down twice with a delayed reaction right uppercut, earning a TKO victory. That was the night Morrison found his signature punch. The right uppercut would go on to become his weapon of choice for years to come. As the year went on, Morrison's reputation grew. He knocked out opponent after opponent, with 11 fighters falling unconscious. The crowd loved him, and it wasn't just because of his fighting ability. He had charm, charisma, and the kind of energy that drew people in. People started calling him the Duke, not just because of his fighting style, but because of his larger-than-life personality. He had the swagger, the looks, and the talent to match, making him a rising star in the boxing world. By 1989, Morrison had signed with Bill Kahn, who had famously helped guide Mike Tyson's career. This was a huge step for Morrison, as it meant he was on the fast track to a title shot. In August 1989, he faced Mike Robinson in a fight that would only add to his legend. Morrison went on the attack immediately, taking Robinson down in the first round with powerful body shots and left hooks. Robinson barely survived, and Morrison finished him off with another huge left hook in the second round. That's the thing with Morrison. His punches were fast, but they weren't just fast. They had power that was almost unreal. In 1989, Tommy was unstoppable. He was getting closer to a shot at the heavyweight title, and every win brought him one step closer. Even a fight against Rick Andis in September couldn't stop his momentum. Andis had 15 knockouts and 18 wins, but Morrison made quick work of him. The uppercuts kept coming and Andis couldn't escape. As the rounds passed, Morrison's punches only became more vicious. The fall, pressure, fame, and reckless living. With fame came pressure, and for Morrison, that pressure became unbearable. The boxing world was starting to take notice of his power, and the comparisons to Mike Tyson became inevitable. But while Tyson had his own personal demons, Morrison's were just beginning. As Morrison's star rose, so did his recklessness. He started partying, enjoying the attention from women, and living a lifestyle that would soon catch up with him. Morrison's good looks and charm made him a favorite in the press. He often claimed he could meet a new woman every day. His fame made him a rock star in the world of boxing. But the party lifestyle took a toll on Morrison's career. In 1991, he faced Ray Mercer in a highly anticipated fight. The first few rounds were a battle of attrition, and Morrison seemed to have the upper hand. He rocked Mercer with a big shot early on, and it looked like he could finish him. But Morrison ran out of energy, and Mercer seized the opportunity, unleashing a series of punches that left Morrison tangled in the ropes. In the fifth round, Mercer delivered a brutal combination, knocking Morrison out cold. That loss would mark the beginning of a rough patch in Morrison's career. He bounced back from the loss, but the toll of fame, injuries, and personal struggles began to show. Morrison had earned the title of the Great White Hope in the boxing world. But behind the scenes, his life was starting to spiral. The shocking diagnosis, the end of a legend. Just when it seemed like Morrison was back on track, another bombshell hit. In 1996, Tommy Morrison announced that he had tested positive for HIV. This news sent shockwaves through the boxing community. Morrison had been living recklessly, partying, taking risks, and it all caught up with him. His shocking announcement ended any chances he had of making a big comeback. The boxing world quickly turned its back on him. But Morrison wasn't done yet. He claimed that he had been misdiagnosed and that he never actually had HIV. In the years that followed, he tried to make a return to boxing. But by this point, his body was a shadow of its former self. He was out of shape, unhealthy, and unrecognizable compared to the fighter he used to be. A fallen star, legacy, and redemption. Despite his health issues and failed comebacks, Tommy Morrison's legacy in the boxing world is undeniable. With a record of 42 knockouts and 48 wins, he remains one of the most powerful punchers to ever step into the ring. His right hand was a weapon that could end fights in the blink of an eye, and his rise to fame, despite all the personal struggles, proves how incredible his potential truly was. But Morrison's downfall also serves as a cautionary tale. He had everything, a career that could have made him one of the greatest heavyweights in history. Yet he threw it all away due to poor decisions, fame, and excess. His story is one of what could have been, a talent wasted by distractions and a lifestyle that proved too much to handle. In the end, Tommy Morrison died in 2013 at the age of 44. His health had declined dramatically, and he spent his final years in seclusion, away from the limelight. His tragic death marked the end of a life that could have been far more than it was. But his story will never be forgotten. Morrison may have lost his way, but his punches will always echo in the world of boxing. Tommy Morrison's life was a whirlwind of success, fame, and tragedy. He could have been one of the greatest heavyweights to ever live, but his inability to handle the pressures of fame and his reckless choices led to his downfall. What do you think? Could Tommy Morrison have been the greatest if he had stayed focused, or was his tragic fate inevitable? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay up to date on all our latest content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.